Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the latest episode of the Hard Compound Live. For those of you who don't know, if it's your first time tuning in, welcome. My name's Rich, and I run and operate the Hard Compound, a one-stop shop for all things motorsport, from F1 to IndyCar, the feeder series to sports cars and the World Endurance Championship, and NASCAR and bikes and rallying and everything else in between, and anything we can shake a stick at, really. We can be found on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. On Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, we put in 3 articles every day, in the morning, at lunchtime, and in the evening here in the UK, or whatever time that is where you are. So do come and give us a follow, and come and join in the fun. They take the form of race reviews, race previews, breaking news, any new car unveil, liveries, any driver news, throwbacks, birthdays on this day, theme days, all that kind of stuff. Loads of good motorsport stuff. So come and join us. And in case you hadn't noticed, we also do live video interviews such as this one. And just like this one, these are streamed live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. They're also saved on Facebook, in the video section, and on YouTube in the live section. And this is number 130 or something like that. And we've had some terrific guests. I won't name them all, don't worry. But we've had the honour and the privilege of speaking with Mr. Mario Andretti, and with Jackie Ickx, and with John Watson and Hans Stuck and Chip Ganassi. We've had Malcolm Wilson on recently. 2 weeks ago, we had Takuma Sato. We've probably gone through most of the BTCC grid, past and present. Guys like Steve Soper and John Cleland and Paul Radicic and Rickard Rydell and Ivan Muller, etc., etc. And we've had people like Derek Warwick, Danny Sullivan, Stefan Johansson, David Brabham, Alonso Jr., Will Power, Alex Palou, many guests. We've been very, very fortunate. So do go and check those out, but don't do it just yet, because we have got a guest joining us this evening who I think is destined for the very top if things keep going the way they have been. It's hard to believe that he's only the age that he is, because he's a very mature head on, so his birth certificate says young shoulders. He's a lovely lad, and he is very, very, very good at racing cars. So we're going to bring him in right now. Please join me in extending a very warm welcome to Joseph Loake. And there he is. It works. Joseph, how are you, my man?
I'm great. How are you?
Yes, very well, very well. I haven't been anywhere as exotic as you have recently, but it's great to have you on. Thank you very much for sparing some of your Wednesday evening. It's much appreciated, because I know you're busy at the moment.
No, not a problem. Obviously, in the evenings, I'm normally pretty chilled out. So, it's cool to be here.
Yeah, happy days. Good stuff. As I said, thank you for doing this. We've been actually speaking about this for about 7 or 8 months, haven't we? It was the back end of last year I made contact with you, and and lots of lovely stuff has happened between then and now, which we're going to get into, which is great. So just quickly, I'm going to turn my attention to the comment section. Guys, if you have any comments or questions, whichever platform you're watching on, do pop them in. They should get to us in real time, and we'll try and work them in. And if you want to have a chat amongst yourselves while you're listening, then please do. Before we get into the Paul Lund likes the washing. Yes, the washing in the background.
I knew someone would comment about that. I knew
it's taken 4 minutes.
Look, it's stressful when you get back from Bahrain and then you've got to go straight to Melbourne again, and you've got to wash all your clothes. And bear in mind, we don't have a dryer at our house.
Nice.
So that's why it's all hung up. We'll ignore the pink underwear that's about there.
We shan't ask whose they are.
Right.
Skip over that.
Definitely not mine. No, they were bought for me. Don't worry, I didn't go out and buy them myself. But anyway, ignore the underwear. It's so stressful trying to get everything washed and everything. Obviously, my mum does all of that, but it's pretty cool.
No, fair one. Obviously, we'll get into the very start of it very soon. But just before we'll touch on this later. But congratulations on the F3 debut in Bahrain, and that must have been a great experience. And you're getting ready to go to Melbourne, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. It was a really cool experience. I think the weekend could have gone better than what it did. I made a mistake in qualifying, which, had it not been for that mistake, would have been P13, which would have been really, really good for debut. And then obviously, starting P20 around about then was always going to be a challenge. Obviously, race 1 didn't go to plan, but we ignored that. And then race 2 was just a real big struggle with the tyres and just the car not really being where I wanted it. But no, apart from then, the car was really quick, and it shows that there's a lot of potential, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a lovely comment from your dear mother. Who said she was very proud of you for getting them all there, and rightly so, which was lovely. It was a lovely human touch. Well, just before we get into the start of it, we've just got to say hello to Indira Flack. Hello, Indira. We love Indira. She's head of the Great British Racing Drivers photography book that she's put together. And she keeps joking that I'm working my way through her book with guests, but it's just the way it works out.
But I think she's got pretty much everybody she can have in that book now. So
what a legend! I mean, I said this is the Bible of British motorsport.
Pretty much.
Which is
I'm honoured to be in it. To be fair.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're in some good company. So, folks, do go and have a look at that, the Great British Racing Drivers book and set of photos. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And Indira is the lady behind it. Very, very talented lady with a camera. So, right, okay, intros and all that done. Let's get into the bones of this. You've squeezed a heck of a lot into the last 8 or 9 years, but where did your interest in motorsport come from, and when did you first think, I fancy having a go at
that? Yeah, it's really tricky, that one, because I'd never my family's not from motorsport. My dad didn't care. He'd see F1 and he'd go, it's just cars go around a track. My mum's dad, so my granddad on my mum's side, always said that people only watched F1 for the crashes, and that was that, which might have been true back then, but
I must admit that's what I kind of liked when I was young, a long time ago. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, fair enough. But no, obviously, then when I was about 8 or 9-ish, we started go-karting, literally like at a track 20 minutes down the road. Me and my dad, and we'd just have a little bit of a battle, stuff like that. Obviously, we were both really bad at the time. I was really young. We had to beg them to let me go in the quick karts because obviously, I was like 8 at the time, and I was about 2'5". But yeah, no. So that's where it started, and me and my dad just went. What was that?
I don't know. The chair made a noise.
Oh,
I'm scared. It's fine.
Just gonna see you go.
If I vanish, then
yeah.
Apologies.
Be like something out of Tom and Jerry. So yeah, we did that, and then my high school had a karting club associated with it called AMS Karting, and I joined that, and I was like, that's a mint idea. So we did that for a little bit. It was really, really cheap. It was like £100 a race weekend. So, yeah, really cheap. Yeah, pretty much. Especially in motorsport terms, it's pennies. So yeah, we did that, and then at 14 years old, I went to Fiesta Juniors, raced there for a bit. I won the championship in my second year, and then got the opportunity to move to F4 with JHR, and that was when I was actually properly started thinking that I could make something of it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so it was quite, I just did it for fun. Even Fiestas was just a bit of fun, but I was doing quite well. So we were like, well, it'd be stupid to not just carry on going up and see where we ended up. Then we got to F4, and I was quite surprised at how decent I was then. Obviously, it took a little bit of time, and then GB3 was obviously just an absolute breakthrough year. So, yeah, no, it's quite cool, the fact that nobody was really involved in motorsport in my family. I never got pushed into it. I'm still never being pushed. I'm sure if I went to my mum or dad and said I don't want to race anymore, they'd say okay, that's fine.
Wow.
And it's because they would never push me to do anything, and something that I'm really, really thankful of, because it means that it's all coming from me and something that I want to do.
And it's a nice way to be, not having that kind of pressure, I guess, of, look, we've invested loads.
For sure.
And all that. It's more going for the enjoyment,
sure.
which is the best of reasons, isn't it? It's the best reason.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also, my dad makes it very clear, especially he did this year for Formula 3. He knows that it's the only chance I'll get, and you only get the opportunity once. So, as much as we are so tight on money, it's incredible. We're getting all sorts of deals just to be able to be on the grid. We're being helped out by so many people, but my dad will still, at the start of the year, he still came to me and said, look, do what you have to do. If you have to take risks and stuff like that, do it, because I'd rather you try than be scared of something. So, it's the support I get from my family is just so big.
Yeah, that's lovely to hear. That's so nice to hear that they're pushing you to do what you want to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And to do it, all guns blazing, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we've touched on your career there. I just want to dig into it a bit more because I sort of love all this kind of stuff, the stuff that we don't see on the track.
Sure.
Obviously, you said that you went karting and you're doing it for fun. And you went through and you won. I think you won. I forget what it was. It was it was the NASCAR, wasn't it? The National
NASCAR was the karting. Yeah.
Yeah, and you went through and you sort of worked up through the classes as you got older and things like that. So, and you took your first title, I think, was it 2015, Class 10?
Class 11, it would have been. I don't know
11.
which year. It might have been 2016.
It was around then.
But yeah,
And that was the
I
first.
wouldn't know that.
I mean, you've gone karting just for fun. It's still fun. It's been fun for a while, and then you win a championship. Even then, did you start thinking, oh, maybe I could move further, or was it just a case of, okay, I've got to go up a class? Or
no, I didn't, and I think maybe I would have, but the way that I've always been, the way that I kind of have been, when I was a kid, I got bullied a lot in primary school and especially at the start of high school, and every single person saw me do karting and go, "Oh, it's just, you're rubbish at it anyway." Nobody believed in me. Everybody told me I should just give up and stuff like that. And that was I couldn't stand it, but it gave me no self-belief. And to be fair, self-belief is still something that I struggle with a little bit.
Really?
Even in GB3 towards the end of the year. So, for example, Zandvoort, I was having a really tough weekend. I was getting to the proper breaking point of the championship, and I think I'd ended up the Friday test. I think I was like 20th or something because we just got it so wrong in the wet conditions, and yeah, it was just I couldn't get my head around it. I was like, and I said to myself in the evening, I said, I'm not good enough for this. I can't do this to myself.
Wow.
And it's something that I still struggle with sometimes. Like, I just don't believe myself sometimes. It's really weird. But I think it comes from that, just always being brought down by people around me.
Which, I mean, at that age, I think most of us would have suffered with that at some point. With the primary school, secondary school switch over. I did, not to a major degree, and it does have an effect, doesn't it? And I think there's probably a few people watching this going, he's 18 and he's in F3 and he's not sure if he's good enough. It's like, really? But it does. It's a difficult thing, isn't it? When something gets in your head. But you stuck with it, and obviously you won the championship and you moved up in the karting, and you beat. So was it the following year or 2 years later? You took fourth overall. Was it fourth against older and more experienced racers and stuff? I mean, there's this, it's like local kids come in and started beating them. That must have felt good though, just a little bit.
It was cool, and especially when I went into Rotax in karting when I was back in NASCAR. I think I was, how old would I have been? Maybe 12 or 13, and I was racing against like 17-year-olds. And I think it was my maybe first or second race weekend in it, and I won one of the heats. And I was really slow, and I started at the front because it was random grids that all added to the same. So everyone got the same, but you just started differently each time.
Okay.
And and I won one of the heats because all of the good guys were at the back and I was at the front. So I got like an 8-second gap, and then they all caught me by the last lap, and I held on. And I remember just how I saw all of the 16, 17-year-olds looking at me and going, excuse my French, but I can't lose to him. Yeah. I can't lose to him. He's like 12, and I remember seeing that, and I was like, I love this, and that was where I've always loved just beating people that I shouldn't really be able to beat.
Yeah, and talk about giving you a spur on. If they're talking about you like that, you're probably thinking, "Oh, come on now." There's something you can do here.
And eventually, it got to the point where, I actually went to my mum at one point. I was like, why does everybody not like me, even though I'm doing so well? And my mum just said, because that you're doing too well,
Because you're
and
doing
therefore
so well.
they hate you because you are beating them,
Yeah.
and they don't like it. And that, like, from then on, it was like I was like, okay, I want them to hate me now.
Yeah. If they hate me, it means I'm doing something right.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
which is great. And I've just seen we've got Inda is saying imposter syndrome with the hands up emoji, and we've got another couple of people agreeing with it. Yeah, agreed. I still get it. I mean, people sort of talk to me and go, "Oh, but your page is going well. You speak to all these people and stuff," and I'm still staggered that someone came up to me and recognised me at a circuit the other day. I was like, "Really? I'm just a bloke with a page." And obviously it's nowhere near where your level is now, but it's
Yeah.
still odd. You think,
No, it
why is
is.
someone talking to
It
me?
is, yeah.
You think
Yeah.
I'm just doing what I want to do.
I
And
had one of them the other day, actually. I was in the gym. I've actually had it twice now, but the first time it happened, it was a few days after I got announced for F3. And I was in the gym, I think I was on the treadmill. I was just doing a run, and I'd just come off the treadmill, and this guy came over. He's probably about my age. He said, "Are you Joseph Loake?" And I was like, "Yeah,
no, why?
yeah, yes, I am. You're right." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I just saw you announced for F3, and it's really cool to see." And I was like, "Oh, thank you very much." And I walked off, and I who did I call? I called someone, and I was like, "Mate, I've just been like recognised."
I've just been spotted.
Yeah, and I was so gassed with it. I was honestly so over the moon. It was so
I mean,
cool.
it's a weird thing. I mean, obviously we caught up at the Autosport show, didn't we? Just to like digress very quickly, we caught up at the Autosport show, having messages and whatever.
Yeah.
And shortly after I spoke with you, Jack Aitken was up on stage, and I'm a Williams fan. I hold my hands up. They're my local team, and I thought it'd be good to get Jack on here. And I walked up to him and went, "Jack, very nice to meet you." Put my hand out, and he went, "Hi, Rich, how you doing?" I was like, "Hang on, did I introduce myself? How do you what?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, you do the interviews in the hard compound, don't you?" I've like watched most of them. I was like, "What?
Yeah, it's quite cool, that, isn't it?
What?"
That's awesome. He probably
Yeah,
doesn't even
very
know
odd.
who I am, so
Yeah.
that's mint.
But that imposter syndrome thing that people are talking about, I mean, and it makes you think, "Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm just doing what I'm doing here." But it's great that it works. Um,
Yeah.
so, we've got BSR Racing on YouTube. Hello, BSR. They say hello. Hey, Joseph. Can we
Morning.
guys see the chat? We can see the chat. Yes, we can see it all.
I've actually got it on
Um,
my phone. Oh,
oh, what was that?
that was my phone.
Crikey! I thought it was a
I
budgie or
knocked,
something flying
no, I
through.
knocked it on my monitor, and it's just gone flying.
Oh, good catch.
Anyway,
Yeah. Oh, it was Oliver. Oliver
yeah,
Netherland. He
Oliver.
said,
There you
"Yeah."
go.
He
Yeah,
said, "For the record, he
it
called
was
me, and I can
Oliver.
confirm he was
I
very
thought it
surprised."
was him, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to say
Yeah,
the wrong person. But yeah, no, it's cool.
yeah, it
I
was
think
him. So yes, there you go. But yeah, I
I
mean,
call him about most
it's
things.
great. It is great when you have that. You think I'm just doing my thing here, and people are sort of, and you put yourself down, but then results speak for themselves, and more so in your case.
Yeah.
But obviously, okay, so it's just fun. You've had a bit of fun poked at you, and you've proved everyone wrong. You're beating people that are older than you. With that in mind, it's just come to me, and it takes a bit of guts to move up to cars and really go for it, because there's a huge leap, isn't there,
Yeah.
from karts to cars? I mean, were you ever looking at an entry level single seater, or was it just a case of what could be afforded at the time?
It was kind of we were slowly moving through karting, and we went to, it was either, I think it was the Autosport show actually in 2018. We went to the Autosport show. No, it will have been the start of 2019. It'll have been, because they're always at the start of the year. And
Yeah,
we went, and we I was looking into doing, more national karting, trying to go into the higher levels. So I'd looked at Super One at the time, it was called, and I was quite interested in stuff, but it was so expensive, and at the time we thought it was a waste of money and it was pointless. And then we saw Fiestas, and I think Fiestas was, I think it's obviously as advertised as the minimum you can do. It's not ever that, but I think they advertised it as about 12 grand a season. I think it ended up being about 25. But
but you can't advertise that straight off the bat, can you?
exactly, because 12 is a lot more affordable than 25. But once you get stuck in, you can't really back out. But no, I did. I sat in a car, and I was like, "This is well cool." And then my dad was like, "Well, why don't we do it then?" And I was like, "Absolutely."
Well, and it was just straight, just like from that, you sat in it, you liked it, your dad liked
Yeah.
it, so you did it.
Yeah, pretty much. I missed the first round of 2019 because I was too young.
Oh, was that the reason? I was going to ask. Yeah, we'll come to that.
I was still 13. You had to be 14 to race.
Crikey.
So yeah, I had to wait until I was 14, and I raced at Pembrey was the first race. Of course, I had to race at Pembrey for my first round. At least we eased my way in instead of going to Sills.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. Well, it's not got a very good reputation, Pembrey, is it?
We'll skip on that. Yeah.
But no, so I turned up and just had a bit of a laugh racing, and I was not very good. The grid was very small at the time for Fiestas. The championship was actually really struggling. But it was quite a nice way of getting into cars and just learning and getting used to it. And then the grid grew for 2020 quite a bit. I was the only second-year driver, which made it a bit less cool, but it was still pretty cool to see that there was a lot of cars around me. And but no, it's to see that. To be fair, some of the drivers that were in that championship at the time have gone on to pretty decent things. So
yeah,
the
I've got some names which I'm going to
decent.
come to in a minute. And
Yeah,
it's good, isn't it? It was good proving ground. I mean, just quickly, when you first got into the car, when you first started driving it and racing it and things like that. I mean, I've spoken to a number of guys. Most guys have gone from karts to cars, and guys like Dan Zelos, who's just won the mini challenge, and Ronan Pearson in the touring cars and things. They said they found it very difficult going from a kart to a car, not because of the actual driving, but of sitting on the side of the car rather than the middle, and the depth perception and the roll and sitting high. I mean, did you find that it was just I mean, even just for the first few laps, were you thinking this is weird, or did you kind of take to it quite well?
Did you say so? First few laps in the Fiesta, you said.
Yeah.
It was the first time I'd driven a car, and I hadn't driven anything else, so I kind of just did it and assumed that it was normal.
Right.
Like that, because obviously at the time I was 13 when I first drove it, so I didn't really know anything too much.
Yeah,
I
there
was
was
just
no frame of reference, I guess. It was
exactly there was nothing to compare
right.
it against, and so I was just like, well, this is just it. This is just what it is. It's just, I just got to get used to it. And it was weird at first, but it was more the fact that there was just so much around me because I'd come from karting, and you've got a seat and a chassis and an engine.
Yeah. And now you're in a goldfish bowl type thing.
Exactly, yeah. And obviously Fiestas are really square, aren't they? So it was quite weird, but once you get used to it, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And I mean, you said that you went to Pembrey and were just having a laugh. You qualified second. that's a big laugh.
Well, like I say, the grid wasn't exactly anything crazy.
But
I think there was 5 cars, but
3 behind, 1 in front.
Yeah, true. And then I had still probably the biggest moment of my career in my first race on the first lap. I don't know, not many people have actually seen this, but it was I was going around the last corner at Pembrey, and I had a massive swapperoni and ended up flying towards a barrier. I kept it out, but yeah, I had a proper moment in that one. I was well scared.
Wow. Yeah. Was that your first sort of moment?
Yeah, it really was. I was right scared, but no, it was cool. It was cool, and obviously, then you get out the car and you just get back in it the next race, and you just carry on. The good thing is that I had a lot of mistakes early in my career. So even in the F4 days, and to be fair, GB3 as well, I made so many mistakes. It was unbelievable. But I learned from all of them, and I think that's the cool bit. But yeah, Fiestas was good for making mistakes because it wasn't really very high risk.
Yeah, it was if you're going to make an error, it's relatively safe errors to make, aren't they?
Yeah, and they also you struggle to get over 100 miles an hour, so they're quite slow as well.
Which kind of helps, but it's all part of the learning curve, isn't it? With learning racing and how to manage things like that. Just want to go through and just want to touch on some of the results. You had a second place in your second race. You had some third places at Cadwell. First win at Snetterton, which
Was
I
it?
actually went to for the first time last year, which is
Was it
ridiculous. I've been to Snetterton, and yeah, it's a kind of cool circuit. That first win, given that at this point it's still just for fun, it
Yeah.
still must have felt brilliant. You were like, I mean, that must have been amazing.
I thought my first win was Anglesey.
I will take that. I will. I just went through.
I was
the
on
timing
pole
sheet.
at Snetterton. I was on pole at Snetterton.
Maybe that was it. But I mean, even if your first win was at Anglesey, wherever it was, because I looked through the BRSCC timing sheet. So I'll blame them if that's wrong.
Teflon can't be yours. It can't be awful.
Teflon shoulders, me. But anyway, that first win, wherever it came, that must have felt superb. I mean, the first win in a car. Pretty cool.
It was awesome. Like, and yeah, it was at Anglesey, and it's a really cool circuit to race at as well. Like, it was, it's the only time I've ever driven there, and yeah, best track I've driven, besides maybe Silverstone and maybe. I'd actually this is very controversial. I'd probably put it above Spa, in my opinion. It's such a cool track. Anglesey.
People need to get to Anglesey. It is a cool track.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not been on it, but I've looked at it, and I bet, and I do look at it and think, I bet
it's a good track. It is a good track, and I mean, obviously, it's always going to be a nice track for me because I won there. But still, it's The cool bit is that obviously you've got the banked right at the bottom, like it's like turn 2, I think.
Yes.
And if you get that a bit wrong, you're in the sea, and that I find quite enjoyable.
Proper punishment, isn't it? It's like,
exactly. Track limits are. You're not going off track limits there.
Track limits aren't a thing.
Yeah.
So you're either on track. Yeah, you're either on track or you're wet.
Yeah.
Going for but I think the only thing that's against Anglesey is that it's a long way from anywhere.
Yeah.
Even by
it's only an hour away from me,
but even by Wales standards, it's a long way. But it's a cracking circuit, and obviously you took your win there. And just quickly jumping in, because this was 2019, jumping into 2020. Obviously you were heading back onto the grid. We all know what happened in 2020, with the pandemic and everything, and very sadly, a lot of people didn't come out of it, and we should be grateful that we're still here. But on a racing level, was there any danger that you perhaps weren't going to get onto the grid? You weren't going to go racing? Was there a real possibility that things were just going to stop for you?
As in myself, or as in just racing in general?
Well, both. I mean, I think it was 50-50 for everyone, wasn't it? But obviously with you at the start of your career, or the start of your enjoyment of racing.
Yeah, no, I was more determined than ever to get in a car. I mean, the problem is that this is, I mean, it's not really a problem. It's quite cool, but motorsport, once you're in it, you can't get out of it, no matter whether you try or not. It's almost in your blood at that point, especially once you've driven a car, and you can't physically experience the amount of joy and the amount of just excitement that you get from driving a race car, no matter what level. Like you could put me in anything and I would find it absolutely incredible. And I think, even at the age of, I think I was 14 still then. No, I would have been 15. You still just want to drive cars. Like I was a kid, and that was the main thing of it. Actually, I was just a kid, and I was just really enjoying driving cars, and I couldn't wait to get back out there. Yeah. And to be fair, at my age, I didn't really fully understand what was going on with the pandemic as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, perhaps even with the pandemic, and even with the other stuff that comes with racing, all the other peripheral stuff. I guess at that age, it's like, all right then.
Yeah. Yeah.
When can I get in the car?
Yeah, exactly. It was a bit like that, and I remember. I look back at it now, and I'm like, wow, it was a pretty scary time. But I didn't find it scary. I just thought it was annoying. I had to sit in my house all day.
Yeah.
I used to take the mick. I used to take my dog for 3-hour walks just so that I could go outside. Not every day, which some days I'd be very lazy and eat chocolate the whole day. But it's not a bad way.
Just as good. Just as good.
Yep. Yep, poor dog. Sorry, I've got chocolate. But no, yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't think I really understood it, but no, it's looking back. I probably should have been more worried than I was, but
Yeah.
thank goodness we all came out of it. As in my family, we all came out of it unharmed.
Yeah.
Obviously, some weren't as fortunate, but
Yeah.
yeah, from my side of it, yeah, it was. Yeah, I think my mum was really scared by it, especially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, yeah, but yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, we got through it, thankfully. And that year, I mean, you did go racing. You managed to get on track. It went quite well. You won everything. I think is the only way I can put it. I mean, was it 8 races and 8 wins?
Yeah,
And you won the championship.
yeah, but it wasn't perfect though because I only got 4 fastest laps,
Oh,
so I
what are
was.
you doing?
I know I wasn't
Come
very happy
on.
with that. I was actually quite disappointed when when I realised I didn't get fastest laps because I wasn't paying attention to it. I was like, well, I'll just win. I'll just drive around. Like I'll get into the lead and just drive around. And I kind of slightly forgot that that I had to go for fastest lap as well. So I only got 4 of them, but it's fine. You don't get points for it anyway.
It's a minor bit. I mean, a bit. I mean, if someone says you're going to do 8 races and you're going to win them all, you're going to tear their arm off and for it. And you obviously you won the championship.
Can I do it in F3? That'd be quite cool.
We'll just start in Melbourne. Yeah, be all right.
Sorted.
It was
Sorted.
false sense of
Pole,
security.
it's because of you.
False sense of security for everyone last time, wasn't it? You were just sandbagging. It's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, easy. So yeah, I mean, so you won the championship. I'm just saying that in that year there was Will Orton, who we know he's gone on to Porsches and Minis and things like that. Got like Jensen Brickley, he's TCR UK. Albert Webster, he's still doing very well and winning races and moving up classes and stuff.
Yeah,
So it was a strong grid.
Mini scholarship actually. He won the
Yes,
so
that's
he's
it.
racing. He's racing on the touring car packages, yeah, which is really cool actually. I'm still friends with Albert from Fiestas, and my mum and his mum are like they talk to each other all the time. They're like that.
Oh, brilliant.
They don't really meet up very often because we're on the opposite ends of the country, but they're southern softies, and we're obviously a bit more north. Yeah, you fall into that category, so yeah,
it's fine.
Anyway,
fine.
But yeah, no, they're really. So yeah, I was speaking to Albert and stuff, and they really do struggle with money. They don't have.
Yeah.
They hardly have enough for Fiestas, and that's. I feel really bad for Albert because he is really good, and he deserves the opportunity. Yeah, and he obviously did really well to win the scholarship, and he really deserved it. And I was so happy when I saw that actually.
Yeah.
So yeah. I just wanted to shout that out because I think Albert deserves a bit more praise than he gets.
Yeah, definitely. And sorry, I did you a disservice by not mentioning that in the first place. And he's also a supported driver for the Facebook group British Touring Car Chat. So do go and check them out. They do a lot of support for Albert, so do go and check those guys out as well. But yes, fingers crossed he can really sort of progress this year. BSR Racing, North England is just the better part. Let's be honest. Yeah, it's cheaper. Cost a bomb down there.
Who was it that said that?
BSR Racing. I don't know.
Okay, BSR Racing. I'm gonna follow you afterwards for that.
This is going to cause problems, isn't it? No, it's fine.
Is it on Facebook?
It's on YouTube. But BSR Racing on YouTube. You can pop your name in the comments if you like. We promise we won't pick on you. We're all friends here. Don't worry.
How do I do this now?
Yeah, there you go. Do a screenshot. We've got Oliver Taylor, who's a good pal of mine. He said that most 13-year-olds nowadays get behind the wheel to ram raid a cash converters. So you've done it better. You did the right kind of racing. Oh, it's Baxter Rawlings. There you go.
Oh, I know you. Right. I'll
there
follow
you go.
You on Instagram.
Hello, Baxter.
I'll follow you on Instagram. Hold on a
second. Yeah, there you go. We'll do that.
Right,
while you do that, I'm going to trundle on with the rest of it. Do a little linky.
Wait.
You see it? There we go. There you are. Look, you have been followed.
There you go.
Baxter, there you go. You've been followed live. Tremendous.
I'll tell you what, these Collins are staring me in the face. These are.
Yeah. Oh, go on. Let's have the hard compound debut.
Yeah. Right. Collins. Backstory for anyone that's watching.
Yeah,
I was at my auntie and uncle's about literally just before this. I had to rush home so that I could make this this podcast. And they gave me a little plastic bag of little Colin the Caterpillars. I shall grab one now. and I may even eat it.
Do it.
Look.
Do it. Colin the Caterpillar's
Colin.
debut on the hard compound. There he
Look at
is.
that. I'm going to eat his head.
Textbook. You got to eat the head first. Them's the rules. Them's the rules. That's... Oh, headline: Joseph Loake to Miss Melbourne round. Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, after choking on Colin. No, that's really bad.
Yeah, I'll edit that.
Do, please do.
If your name is Colin and you're listening to this, don't panic.
Yeah. All right, Colin, don't worry.
He isn't coming for you.
I'm all about my best mate, Caterpillar.
Yeah. Just want to give a quick shout out to a guy on YouTube called whose username is called A God Named Sparkles, which is a tremendous.
That's my
YouTube.
cousin.
Yeah, that's tremendous. He said that you signed a program for him and was very humble about it. And
Yes,
says,
that is my cousin.
Official Marks and Spencer sponsorship. I think that needs to happen. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, brilliant.
So yeah, and Oliver Taylor, he's from Huddersfield. The North is just better indeed. I tell you, I can't even disagree because my mum's from Leeds. So,
Leeds, yeah, but Leeds is like the worst part of the North.
Yeah, I know, but I can't tell her that. I couldn't. Well, I could, couldn't I? I'm old enough now.
To be fair, I think as long as she's up north, it's better than being down south. And
well, no, she's down south now. She's moved.
Is she all right?
She kind of thought she'd seen the light, and then the light bulb went off. But anyway, that's why I live down south. Right. Anyway, we have digressed to caterpillars and north-south divides. Right. Yes. End of 2020. You've done very, very well in the championship. Hang on. What your opinion on? Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll do that. Oh, see, everyone's ganging up on me now. Look, Nathan Cook. Northern takeaways are better. Dear me. Come on.
Oh, no. Okay, right. This is another story.
Oh.
This is really good. Steve Hunter's going to love me.
Right, we will get back to motorsport in a minute. I promise, guys. We're fine.
Yeah, but this is more enjoyable to talk about.
It is, isn't it? It is good.
So, right, Steve Hunter, he runs JHR Developments. Obviously, I was with the team for 3 years.
Yeah.
2 years of F4, 1 year of GB3. Anyway, that's not the important bit. So, he's based in Dronfield. The team's based in Dronfield. And just down the road from where the team's based is a kebab shop called Fat Sam's. It's properly good, honestly. There's chicken bits, like little chicken bits about that big. It's really nice. But they do, you know how normally when you get cheesy chips from somewhere, it's just chips with some cheese on. They do one of the most naughty cheese sauces ever, and they shove it all over these chips. It like soaks into the chips. It's absolute heaven.
I'm going to have a word with my mum. I'm going to have a word with my mum saying, why did you move from Leeds down to the south all those years ago? I'm missing out.
You are.
Why did you not see Fat Sam's coming?
You have to go to Fat Sam's. That's just how the world works. But yeah, it was incredible. But Dale, who was my mechanic at JHR, has told me that there's a better place, and I haven't experienced it yet. So Dale, he won't be watching this, but if he was, I want you to take me there. Thank you.
Right. I want a full report when he does. I just want to go into the comments here. What have we got here? Nathan Cook he's Southern for the record. Okay, that's good. That's brownie points earned.
No.
Oliver Taylor has just said pants, phone smashing, border warfare, and cute caterpillar murder. You don't get this content anywhere else. Absolutely right, you don't. We do it properly here.
And it's only because I'm here. Let's be real here.
Yeah. It's great. I love it. I love it. Indira said this is entertaining. That's good. I bet I didn't have this on my conversation on my notes. No, there's no mention on my notes. Absolutely none.
Well, it was kind of just sprung on you, wasn't it, about Colin?
Yeah, but it's all right. Do they serve caterpillars at Fat Sam's?
No, they don't.
Either Colin or regular. I mean, a fried caterpillar, that's got to be a thing soon, isn't it?
What, in batter?
We're like frying everything else.
Have you seen the what is it that they I've seen.
Is there someone pushing that?
What the heck? That's my mum.
Oh, okay.
Why are you crawling around on the floor, mother? Mum, you can't get in the thing.
We've got a robotic.
My mum's come back just to move the washing.
That's amazing. Hello, Moira. Anyway, this is brilliant. This is not getting cut, by the way. None of this is getting cut. This is absolutely stellar. I'm very happy.
You're not embarrassed. Come in the camera.
You can come and say hello.
Oh, come and say hello.
I'm not sure she's having it. Oh, hello, Moira. We can see you.
Come round.
Splendid. That's amazing. That was proper weird. I thought, what's going on in Macclesfield?
She's currently trying to make the washing. Right, I'll tell you what. I'm going to run to the loo while she does that, and then you can cut back to a completely clean kitchen.
Yes, and we're gonna. You do that. We're gonna. Right. We're gonna drag it back to motorsport. Goodness me, folks! What an evening! What an evening this is. Oh, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is lovely. There's 143 of you apparently tuning in, which is very, very good. I hope you're enjoying it. We are going to talk motorsport soon. This is the least motorsport 10 minutes of a motorsport podcast you'll ever see. But yeah, so yeah, it's great hearing Joseph's stories. And look, Moira's got her own little cheering squad in the comments section. Yes, if I could give you all microphones, I would. You could just get a chant going. But anyway, we'll be fine. Apologies if anyone is listening to this back on a podcast. You're probably wondering what you've allowed yourself in for. But hey, we do it properly. This is what you do on a live. We talk nonsense. Always expect the unexpected with Joseph. Yes, Oliver. I think we have Oliver Loveland. That is. We've learned that, haven't we? He's great, isn't he? Top lad. Carrying on anyway. What are your opinions on MG midgets as a race car? He's getting one soon. Be nice. Okay, we are going to get to that. We're going to get to that very soon. I think they're very good, but I'm not a racing driver. Just to mark your cards, guys. Tomorrow we're going to be announcing another live guest for this time next week. Another terrific British driver is coming on. And if you do want to check out the previous ones that we've done, as I said, they're in the video section on Facebook, live section on YouTube. Everyone from Mario Andretti to John Cleland to Jackie Hicks to Alonso Jr. to like Sabra Cook has been on, Sarah Moore, most of the British Touring Car Championship grid, loads and loads of guests we've had, so it's all very good. Oh, he's back. He could drop me in it now and just keep walking away and go and have another Colin. Anyway, we're back.
I'm going to finish off my Colin now.
I've been rambling. We can finish Colin. Right. Yes. Back to motorsport. You should try photographing him. Yeah. Well, that's on you, Indra. I'm sure it was absolutely superb. Anyway, back to motorsport very quickly. Back to the BSR racing. It said, "What are your opinions on MG midgets as a race car? He's getting one soon, so be nice."
This is really bad. I can't remember what midget looks like.
Small.
Let me have a look. I'll tell you one thing while I'm looking for this.
Yep.
My dream car is an MGB GT.
Oh, that is a very good answer.
Oh, a little midget. Yeah. They'll be fun. It might be a bit slow in a straight line, but through the corners, that'll be right fun.
Yeah, there you go. Happy days. Just go somewhere where there's corners.
Yeah.
Plenty of them. Plenty of corners, you'll be fine.
Yeah. And not barriers, because that looks like it'll probably go spinning around in circles if you get over exuberant.
Yeah. There's something to bounce off if you need to. Yes, right. Okay, so let's get back to where we were before Colin.
Yes.
And the robotic clothes era.
I think we're only about halfway through my career.
Yeah, we are. It's fine. We'll be all right. It's good. Take it to Anglesey. Yeah, good idea. For reference, I dwarf them, and Joseph is probably taller than me. Cool. Okay. Interesting. That's going to be good to see. Okay, right. Anyway. So you've done the Fiestas. You're the champion, and everything like that. You must be starting to think I can probably do something with this. Was it always a plan to go towards single seaters?
Not at all. No. It was actually, obviously, I finished the season. It was quite a good season. Didn't really know what I wanted to do afterwards. I was looking at minis, looking at Ginettas maybe. Was very close to doing the winter series in Ginettas. Then we got a call off Steve Hunter at JHR, and he was like, "Why don't you come down to the team and get on the simulator, and we'll see what you like." And I was like, "Okay, why not?" It was a free day, so just turned up just to see what it was like. And I think I set 3 records on the sim on the first day I was there, and Steve was like, "Okay, let's get him in the car."
Wow,
for real. So my first day in the in the Miguel F4 was at Snetterton. I think Matt Rees was actually out on the same day, which is quite funny because we ended up being teammates the next year. But yeah, me and Matt were there. Matt had already done 6-7 days, so he was a bit quicker than me. But I think I was only about 0.6 off what Pulling did in qualifying, and that was on my first day. And I was quite fat at that point as well. Still, yeah, you can laugh. It's fine. I was about 80 odd kilos. So.
I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, okay.
I was. Have you? Please don't tell me you've not seen a photo of me from when I was like that.
Well, yeah, yeah. But I'm not going to say anything about anyone's appearance. I mean, crikey, look at this. I mean, when you've got a forehead as big as mine, I've got 5 head. I mean, you can't have a go at anyone for appearance.
It's all right. I had more rolls than you've got heads, so. No, sorry, that was really horrible.
No,
anyway,
it's great. It's all good.
It's fine. We'll take the mick out of me. But yeah, so yeah, drove the F4 car. I was quite overweight, everything like that. But I think I impressed Steve quite a bit, and he was like, "Okay, let's do a little bit more testing." I think I did one more test before winter, and then he said to me, "Look, I need you to be 64 kilograms by the time I next see you. Otherwise, I'm not letting you out in the car."
Wow.
And I was like, "Okay, then. I guess I will go and lose a load of weight then." And bear in mind, I was like 82, 83 kilos at the time.
Right. So it's best part of 20 kilos.
Yes, and I lost that in 3.5 months. I did like the most strict diet you could ever do. Lost all of the weight in that time. And yeah, I was ready for F4. I mean, I had no muscle on my body by that point because I dieted so much that I basically had nothing left on me. But I managed to get myself down to, at the lowest, I was 58 kilos in the middle of F4.
Wow.
Which is really light. Really light.
Wow.
But,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
I was down to 64 kilos, and I actually looked weird for it. So like, because the fat dropped off me in like my stomach and stuff, but it didn't drop off my face at all. And to be fair, it still hasn't a little bit. I'm still a bit podgy, but no, yeah. So it just didn't come off me at all. Around like in some areas, and then other areas I was like skinny as anything. But yeah, I was 58 kilos at one point. Yeah.
Well, I see those people putting in the comments too many Collins. Come on now, let's behave, shall we? Let's behave.
I didn't eat that many Collins actually. It wasn't like I got fat really quickly. It was just through my whole life I ate too much generally.
And that was your bill,
And I just slowly, I was probably putting on a little bit of fat every year, but it got to the point where it was quite a lot by the time I was 15.
Sure.
But I knew I had to change it, otherwise I wasn't going to get the opportunity to race an F4. And when you're a kid that gets told, look, you can race an F4 if you lose some weight, you're a bit stupid if you don't try. And that was kind of how I did it.
Which is a fantastic attitude to have towards. And I guess going back into the single seaters from the Fiesta, was it again just a little bit of a? I mean, obviously the actual driving, I guess, was like becoming second nature to you, but it was just getting used to the car over the opening laps, I guess, back in single seater and being a bit more pinned to the road, things like that.
Yeah. No, it was obviously a single seater is a lot different to a Fiesta, but no, it was cool. Like I learned a lot quite quickly, and that was the main thing. So yeah, it was cool, really good. Is the internet okay? It seems like it's cutting out a bit on my end.
Seems to be okay from this end.
Can you see me fine?
Let us know. Yeah, I can see you fine. Yeah, no problem at all.
Oh, on my screen you're like lagging and everything, but if it's fine for your end, that's fine. That's all that matters.
Oh no, it seems to be fine. It seems to be okay. If there's any issues, we will flag it up.
That's okay.
I mean, got in that first race, you and Matt both sort of struggled with Thruxton, but then was it? Sorry, not Thruxton on the first one, but then so the first 2 races at Thruxton you struggled, and then you won race 3 on the Sunday. BTCC support on a win. That must have been a big one.
It was really cool, and obviously I didn't expect to really do that well in F4, to be fair. Like I say, I didn't have much self-belief, and to be honest, the team at the time didn't really help with that too much, just because I don't think they realised how much I struggled with believing in myself, and that was mainly why. So they spent, and to be honest, it's just the way that JHR work. They're very, very strict and very, very stern, and they will beat down on every single mistake, and they never praise you. And it's something that you have to be quite strong for, but it's also so good at the same time because it teaches you so quickly.
Like tough love, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah, and it's definitely like that with Steve. I think he almost sees me as as another son now, which is quite. He'll hate me saying that. He'll probably beat me up for it, but yes, he put a lot behind me and he believed in me a lot, but it didn't change the fact that he never complimented me. I think I got 4 compliments off him through my whole time at being at JHR.
Wow.
I had to start counting them because they were so rare. And I didn't really think I'd do that well in F4. So I went into the first round and obviously qualified 4th, and I was like, that's quite decent. And then Steve came over to me afterwards and said, yeah, but you're not on pole, so don't be happy. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll just keep trying then. And then obviously race 1, we went for the wrong tyres, which was a bit unfortunate. Then race 2 is the reverse grid, so we're never going to do that well in that. And then the third race, I was starting P2 because of second fastest laps. And it was wet as well. And the wet it's always been where I've been quicker for some reason. I don't really know why. I don't particularly actually enjoy driving in the wet, but I just normally do quite well. So then I get excited when it does. But yeah, so I went out for the race, obviously managed to win it. And I remember coming in, and that was the first well done I had off Steve for the whole thing. I think he said, well done, buddy. And then that was that. But it was like the most hard worked for well done I've ever done.
It was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, I didn't get another one until the middle of 2022. But no, it was cool. Like first weekend, it gave me a lot of confidence and almost too much confidence at the same time. But yeah, it was good to see that I could actually, I can drive a race car, and especially a single seater, and it gave me a lot of confidence that I could, win more races in the season. But I still only saw it as, this is my only season in F4, so I didn't think I'd race in single seaters the next year. I didn't think anything like that. So
okay,
yeah,
and
that was
I guess there weren't any targets or anything, or you for the season. It was just like, let's just go and see how it goes. And to get that win first weekend, so it's a great start.
Exactly.
And I'm just running through the results. I mean, you had podiums at Alton and Brands, either side of wins at Alton Park and Silverstone. So you had some. So you had 3 wins in the first year. We'll touch on Silverstone very shortly because you all seem to do well there. But excuse me.
Yeah, but somehow though, I'm never actually that quick at Silverstone. I just end up somehow getting a good result. It's really funny.
There's a couple of are going to come up, yeah. If you want to but I mean, you came 6th overall in that first year. You had the 3 wins. You won at Silverstone, home of British racing. You must have been pretty happy with that, especially as you thought it might be your only season.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I did by the end of it. I was like, I really wish I could have another year at it. And in the end, we managed to have the opportunity. But yeah, no, for a first year, I was quite happy with it. I thought I did quite well. And yeah, I was quite proud of myself for what I'd managed to do with how little running I'd had as well, because I didn't drive the car that much compared to the others. I'll use Matt as an example. This isn't me saying anything bad on him, but he'd done a lot of days in the car before I'd even sat in it, and he was just better prepared for the season. And I don't have any problem with that. He was just more prepared at the end of the day, and obviously he went on to win the championship. But at the end of the year, I was like, well, if I'd have had that much, preparation and stuff like that, maybe I could have done that. And that was where I wanted to have another go at it the next year. And then obviously the new cars came in for F4 and everything like that, and that did not go to plan to start off with.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you had that outlook on it of, well, you didn't have the track time, the seat time, and all that kind of thing, which is which is absolutely valid. Just a quick question, actually. It's a good question from Dave Cox. Hello, Dave. Said, did the lack of compliments help or hinder at the time? I mean, I think you touched on it. It was kind of a bit of both, I guess, was it?
Yeah, it hindered at the time, but it helped in the long run. Is the way that I'd say it. I think at the time, it really demoralizes you and everything like that. And also, when you're quite young as well, you don't see the positives of it.
Yeah.
But it did make me work harder. It made me focus. It made me try so hard, mainly just so that I could have a well done. and it's
Yeah.
actually it's yeah, it's weird to say, and people always say you should never do something for someone else. You should always do it for yourself. Blah blah. But if you
That's
do
easier said
something
than
and
done.
somebody else says well done,
Yeah.
it means so much, especially when you don't get it very often. And that was why, at the end of 2020, that's why GB3 went so well, if I'm quite honest, because I spent 2 years with JHR where nothing was good enough. That when I finally did get to the point where I was actually doing quite well, the team would give me the compliments back, and that they'd show that I am actually doing a good job.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, it wasn't all for nothing, and then it gives you
It-
that motivation and stuff like that.
yeah.
Um,
Which is great.
and it was yeah. So yeah, no, JHR was so good for that. They know exactly what they're doing with drivers, and to be honest, the people, everyone in the team was just so sound and so lovely. Like yeah, I'm still friends with half the people in JHR now.
Which is
So
brilliant. Which
yeah,
is the way it should be, isn't it? And they've been a big part of your racing so far, and it's nice that
yeah,
you're still in
exactly.
touch with everyone. Just such. I mean, you came back for 2022, back with JHR. Obviously, the opportunity was there, and you did it. Again, were there any targets for the year, or was it just a case of let's try and do a bit better than we did last year? Was that the way you approached
Uh,
it?
the target was to win the championship, and it was the first time I'd set myself a target really.
Okay.
Um, I went into it knowing that I was probably a favourite for it. I'd finished sixth the year before. I'd won a few races, and second year driver is a big advantage, really. Um, and I felt quite ready for it. I thought I was prepared for it. I was excited to get going, everything like that. In testing, we actually looked quite quick. There was a couple of bits where we were like, oh, we're not too strong there, but overall we were quite quick, and I was quite confident. We did the media day. We were P1 and 2 as a team, and everything was fine. But then we turned up for round one, and we were so slow. It was unbelievable.
Right. So that was Donington, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And Donington was a track that we knew we were struggling at,
Okay.
for whatever reason. We know why now, but it's a bit late now. But yeah, by the end of the year, we'd figured it out. But we just turned up and we just had the car so pointy because that was how we had the old F4 car. We had the car very, very oversteery. And you had to, obviously, the car's not got very much power. So it meant that you had to pick up throttle really, really early, get the
Right.
turbo spooling, and it was mega for exits. But with the new car, it was so stiff. It had a halo and everything like that. The thing just flopped and wobbled around. So
Okay.
you needed it to just be as planted as possible. But we didn't understand that, and we didn't know
Right.
that. And
Right.
our engineer at the time was pretty dead set on the fact that we needed to have a really pointy car, and the driver had to then drive around it. And
Right. Right.
it
So
eventually we turned up for round one. We were really slow. I think we were second off in quali. And I went to the engineer and I said, look, I know maybe I could find 4/10, maybe 5/10, but there ain't a second. I can't find a second in driving.
wow.
And he just went, yeah, I get that, but we don't really know what we're doing. So
Right. It
I
is
was
what it is.
like, okay, I was like, okay, that's a bit of a problem. But then like I say, Donington was the only one that we thought we'd struggle at. So then we went to Brands. I was on the podium there.
Yeah, I got second and
Um,
fifth, wasn't it? With sort
yeah,
of
yeah, exactly. And we were like, okay, getting there. It's not too bad. And then it was just so up and down from then on till Knock Hill, really. And
yeah. I
um,
mean, I said, you had some top tens, had like a second at Croft, and then as you touched on, you kind of won at Knock Hill. Now, I've always said if you win at Knock Hill, you've earned it because
yeah,
it's a gloriously bonkers place, isn't it? I mean, I love it. I mean, I've only been as a fan. I've not been on the track or anything like that, but it's just something different to anything else, isn't it? And I guess for a driver, it's the same on track.
yeah, it is. It's pretty scary. And the thing that made that so like such a nice win was the fact that I'd started off the weekend. We weren't very quick again, and I was really worried. Like I think we were 8/10 off, something like that, and I was like, oh no, it's going to be one of these. Um, but the boys put in a massive shift overnight, in between practice and quali, and in fact, I remember the exact times that we were doing it. I think P1 in practice was a 48.1 or something like that, and we were doing 48.7s or something in
Right.
practice.
Oh,
And then in qualifying, it was a damp track, and I did a 48.2 for pit and put it P2. And I don't know what the boys did. I still don't know, but we found a lot of time overnight.
wow.
Whether we were sandbagging, I don't know, but yeah, it was a mega job, and yeah, it was like a massive breakthrough almost, because it was the first time I felt like I was on the pace and I could actually win races, and obviously I went on to win the race and then pick up a P3 later in the weekend as well. So that was a big breakthrough. And also, I think there was a lot of things going on with the championship that were hindering and helping different teams, which I won't go into. But of course, it's quite tricky sometimes to keep your head up with stuff like that. But yeah, Knockhill was a massive breakthrough, and it was, like you say, a cool circuit to win at as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely love it. And obviously, you got the win there, as we said. It's just you've had a strong weekend. You came in second at Silverstone. You ended the season with 2 wins in the final round at Brands.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was good that you kind of got those results and everything, but was it a bit frustrating that it couldn't have come a bit earlier in the year? And it was a bit, we could have kicked on a bit if we could found that magic touch, as it were.
Yeah, it was that, and I mean, we all agreed as a team. If we'd have started the season how we ended it, we probably could have won the championship. And obviously, then the next year after I'd gone to GB3, Steve had Deegan in the team, first year driver, didn't have any reference, and he was doing pretty well. He had a lot of pace. It's just he was making a lot of mistakes, but it showed that the car had made massive leaps and bounds from where it was, 12 months before. So
yeah,
so it was one of those where we were like, well, we could have done better, but at the same time, I also look at it and go, well, I made a lot of mistakes, and maybe we could have. Obviously, we couldn't have fought for the championship. Alex ran away with it, but maybe we could have picked up a P2, like a P2 in the championship or something, and I would have looked like a genuinely decent driver at the time. But after that season, it was kind of like I was looked at as a bit of a flop, and I couldn't handle pressure, and
which
I had a lot
feels
of
mighty
people.
unfair.
Yeah, especially when I know that winning wasn't possible at the first half of the year. But again, it's you just don't let it get to you. It's as simple as that, and just keeping your head high and focusing on what you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Which obviously did at the end of the season. Excuse me. And then obviously, as you say, we moved into GB3 just last year. It's amazing. It's just last year, wasn't it? GB3. It was, I guess, it was a kind of natural progression and things like that. And again, like another little step up. But you hit the ground running. I mean, straight off the bat, Alton Park. Was it pole, fastest lap, and a win? I actually watched the footage of it a couple of days ago, just to sort of like bone up on it a bit better. And there was a lovely chat with you beforehand. You were saying, "Well, I'd like to challenge for the title, but I probably won't. So let's just see how the weekend goes." And then it went like that.
Yeah, for sure.
You must love looking back at that weekend.
Yeah, no, it was pretty awesome. Like, especially because we'd spent the whole of pre-season and I was struggling so much. Like, I was really, really struggling. I'd worked so hard over the winter to make sure that I was fit enough for it, make sure that I was strong enough with my neck and everything like that. Because GB3 is a big step up, and the steering is actually, now that I've driven Formula 3, it's stupidly heavy. GB3 is, like, the amount of effort you have to do just to turn the wheel is unbelievable. Like, I got into the F3 car this year, and honestly, I found it a doddle. I was doing that with it rather than GB3 are like properly holding
like a
on.
go-kart. It was
Yeah, well, not quite, but you get the gist. But yeah, we'd spent pre-season, and it was I had a differential issue through the whole of pre-season, and one of the bearings in the diff casing had failed, but we didn't know. So when I was picking up throttle and I was under load, so like when I was cornering, it would lock the diff fully, and it would make me just understeer like crazy.
Wow.
But obviously, me being new to the car, I didn't really know what I was on about, and I didn't know that was actually a problem because we had the problem since I got into it. But it got to the point where I was looking at the telemetry and data that Matt was producing, and I was doing the exact same things with my hands and my feet, same setup, everything, but my car was acting completely differently. And I said, look, I'm not doing anything wrong anymore. There's got to be a problem. So then they sent Matt out in my car. I went in Matt's car, and Matt went a second slower than what he'd done in his car, and I went a second quicker than what I did in mine. And then we were like, okay, there's a problem there.
Yeah. Sure.
But then I was after we did that, it was at Spa that we did it, and after we did that, I went the same pace as Matt did in his car, and I was like, well, Matt is quick. Matt could challenge for the title, so maybe I'm quick enough to do the same. And then once the car was fixed, I managed to get out for I think 5 laps at the end of the day at Snetterton, which was the day after the Spa test. Don't ask how chaotic that was getting there that evening.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to Snetterton for the next day, and we were on track, and the team then stripped my car completely down, rebuilt it, found the problem, and I got out for the last couple of laps, and straight away the car felt like a new car, but then we were straight at round 1, and I didn't have time to get used to it.
Right.
So I was like, okay, for the first round, it's pretty much like learning a new car again. I'm just going to have to get used to it, stuff like that. So I went out for practice, and I think it was P3 and then P2 and then P1 in the practice sessions. And I was like, oh, this is spicy. And then obviously qualifying, we were on pole. Matt probably should have been on pole, to be fair on him. He messed up one of his laps, which would have been enough. But I thought I did a pretty good job for my first weekend, and then obviously to win race 1, and then if it wasn't so chaotic in race 2, I probably would have won that one as well. But with the conditions and stuff, just changeable stuff, it was quite scary.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was a really cool way to start the year, and the fact that I started off with such a bang, I think it kind of silenced a lot of the people that were saying that I couldn't do it from the year before, and that I wasn't anything good, especially because Alex struggled that weekend as well.
Yeah.
I think it showed that, maybe there was more in me than what people thought originally.
Yeah, absolutely. And and to do it, with a broken front wing or no front wing as well, it just looks a bit better, doesn't it? He's like, yeah, look, car's broken. And
Yeah, for sure.
doing
But no,
nice way to do it. And just fast forward through the year, you had like a double win at Silverstone.
yeah, they were funny. That weekend.
Yeah, there's asterisk. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'll let you go into what happened. But a win's a win, isn't it? A win is a win.
It is, and I want to start this one by saying I'm very, very sorry to John for for those. Obviously it's not anything to do with me. He got decided in the stewards room. I don't have any input, but
Sure.
Yeah, you just kind of make the most of what you got. I mean, qualifying was wet, and wet Silverstone always is quite nice for me. I like it quite a bit, but it didn't actually go that well. I qualified P5, I think it was. I think me and Matt did the exact same time or something like that to the 1000th. But starting P5 and then I think P10 for the next race, I was like, it's probably not going to be anything crazy. I was like, I'll just try and pick up whatever points I can get. And then wet race 1, it was really wet. Race probably shouldn't have been run, but it was, thank goodness. And obviously managed to win that one after penalties. And to be fair, the race 2 where I won that one, obviously Matt jumped the start, got a 10-second penalty, so that was part of it. And then John took Alex out in that race, so he got a penalty as well, which is why I then won. But it was still probably the best drive I've done in my career, just because obviously I went from P10 to P3. It would have been on track,
which then put you in the position to
overtaking like Mackenzie and Callum and everything. And I thought that was quite a good drive, and some of the moves I was doing I was quite proud of. So especially when you're still quite new to it as well. Like I was still really naive, and I was still walking around going, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm quite enjoying it. But I think that's why it was going quite well, because I was just enjoying it and I was just having a laugh, and it's something that I still try and do now. Like I turned up to F3 in Bahrain and I just kind of wandered around and was just me, and I was just having a laugh and appreciating the fact that I was just there, never mind anything else. And something that can be lost quite easily, I think, especially the higher up you go.
Yeah, when there's like pressure on you and you start overthinking things and things like that, and the enjoyment goes, and the natural ability sort of gets clouded with overthinking type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But great start, and obviously some like terrific drives. And I mean, you mentioned you did a test at Spa. There was a round at Spa that weekend. Sorry, that season. I mean, what a cool place. I mean, it's just it feels daft, but when you're there, it's like, wow, this is an amazing,
it was awesome.
And very cool.
When I first got there, and sorry to put in, but I remember when I first got there, I sat in the grandstand at Eau Rouge and Radion, and I looked at it and I was like, this is so cool. This is really awesome.
Thinking, really?
I was. I didn't believe it, and like, I have moments in my career, like all the way through, when I've been, moving up and stuff like that, and I'm someone that really makes sure to appreciate where I am and really make myself realize how lucky I am to be where I am. And when I got to Spa, I had, my mum, my auntie, my friend, and my next door neighbor at the time, actually. We all came to Spa just to be there and to race. And we were stood in the grandstand, and I remember walking up to the top of it just on my own, just so that I could sit and just take a moment to appreciate the fact that I was there and the fact that I was going to drive around Spa. And it was just, it was the most incredible thing ever. Like, just to be there and experience it was incredible.
I just love that, just like experiencing it from the human side rather than the racing side. Just love it. And it went, and it went well. I mean, was it race 3? I've got it down that you came second. I think that was correct.
Yes.
You were chasing Oliver Stewart down. You were chasing him, and I mean, at any point were you thinking, I'm going to get him, I'm going to win at Spa? Did you ever think?
No, I didn't. No, it was, that weekend was really, really tough because we were struggling. We, as a team, we weren't very quick that weekend anyway. Plus, I had a problem in qualifying, which was losing me 7/10 in sector 1 alone. And
wow.
So in sector 1, I think I was about 20th. I think my speed traps were about 8 kilometers an hour down. So obviously, for a place that you want to your straight line speed, it's not a good time to have a problem. But yeah, I think Matt and David were P5 and 6, and I think I was P14. I tried as hard as I could to race myself forward. I think I was getting to like P9 or something like that. But when you've had such bad qualifying, especially in single seaters, you can't really make the moves up the grid like you can in, for example, touring cars or something like that. So it was tricky. But then, I got, again, a bit of luck on my side in race 3 at Spa. And obviously, I had a good lap 1 anyway, but obviously half the field going off was probably also quite helpful. But no, it was still cool to be on the podium. When I was on the podium, it was quite funny. Obviously, the person announcing everyone onto the podium isn't English. I think he had a French accent. I can't remember. And he didn't know how to say my last name. So he goes, so I think it was Waberski was P3. So he goes, and in third place, Jared Waberski. And then he comes on. And then he said, right, second place, Joseph Loake.
Joseph Loake.
Joseph Loake. And then at Zandvoort, they call me Joseph Lake as well.
Okay.
Which,
closer.
I mean, it's closer than Spa, but it's still not quite right. So
and I mean, obviously, it's great to be on that podium. It's such a famous podium, famous circuit. And just quickly, I mean, what is it like thumping up through Eau Rouge? Because it looks I mean, everyone who I've ever spoken to who was raised at Spa, I've asked that to, and they all say, "Oh, it's great because you get the compression, then it goes light, and it's just nuts, and you can't see where you're going." And
Yeah.
I mean, the first time you did it at full chat, was it exciting or terrifying or somewhere in between?
Well, the first time I did it on a like after I'd warmed the tires, the first time I did it flat, and it was
Nice.
quite. Yeah, I mean, you can't not. Like,
Yeah.
I'm someone that will look at the data and look at the videos of people doing it before, and if they did it flat, then I will do it flat, and I'll do it
Right.
on my first attempt.
Good
So
man.
that's kind of how it goes, which half the time doesn't work, but we ignore that. But no, when I came out the pits going down the straight, and you literally you look up and you're like, whoa, because obviously you're going downhill and then it goes uphill. So yeah, it's crazy, and you almost obviously it's not got the best reputation, that corner. So you always come out of turn one, you'll look up and you'll just make sure that there's nobody stopped over that
Right.
way just
Yeah.
before you go into Eau Rouge, and then you obviously do the corner and you know that you're going to be fine. But it can be quite terrifying when you especially in the race when you're at the back of the grid or something.
Right.
You know, you
And if
don't know if
something
something's
happens,
kicked off. Yeah, you
yeah.
don't know if something's kicked off, and there's nowhere to go if something happens. Like you either go into the car or you go into the wall, or both. So like that's the problem with that corner. But I'd hate to lose it. I'd hate to lose it off
Yeah.
away from motorsport.
Well, I mean, that was the thing. I mean, I kind of spoke to Jack Aitken a few weeks ago, and obviously he had
Yeah.
a huge shunt there.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, he said he had never worried about it before until it happened to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, crikey, yeah, that was a big one." And I had Calamala on before, who was obviously involved. He came up through the incident where we lost. Excuse me. I forgot his name. Antoine Hubert. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, he said he came into the back of it. He saw that something had happened in enough time that he could get off the power and just make his way through. But he said he was glad that he wasn't 3 or 4 spaces further up because he'd have been caught up in it. And he said it's a terrifying corner.
It is, but it's really cool.
Yeah, like it's cool when it goes well.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's just a bit. It's just the visibility. I think if you could see up there and see what's going on, it'd be fine. If there was a bit more runoff, but again, I think you could say the same about a lot of corners in motorsport.
Yeah.
I think it's just quite unlucky that it tends to happen there. Like I don't really. Obviously, I don't want to. It's a really tricky topic, this one, to talk about. But you know what I mean.
Because
like,
we all love Eau Rouge and Radion. We all love it, don't we?
Exactly. And it could happen anywhere. For example, it could happen at Alton. You could be going through Druids and someone stopped at the exit of Druids, for example.
Yeah.
Brands Hatch, it could be the exit of Hawthorns. It just doesn't tend to happen as much because you don't have as quick cars going through there, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still a really cool place, and to experience that for the first time was quite incredible.
Yeah, absolutely, and I bet it was superb. And just to fast forward through the season, I mean, you came third. I mean, I said you got a podium at Zandvoort, which is another cool circuit.
That was cool. The move I did for that podium was quite good as well. I remember that one quite well.
Yeah, that was a good, and especially since they've reprofiled some of the corners as well. Because I'm old, I can remember the old one. But especially that last corner, the Ari Lyondike corner.
See, I'm not a fan.
So I mean, it looks good, but I don't know what.
It's done for Formula One, isn't it? Like that's the problem, and it's cool, but it ruins racing. The last corner, not so much, but turn 3 I'm not a fan.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a fan of it personally. It's like I say, it's a cool corner in qualifying, but the fact that you have to do the high line and stuff, and there's so much, the racing you can't make a move into there. The corner before you could make a proper good dive into there or something like that, like as in before it was reprofiled.
Yeah.
You could hang it around the outside and then you could get the inside, but now you hang it around the outside and then you get done by 5 cars on the exit.
And you're stuck in the
because you're stuck on the inside. So yeah, and also I think most people saw what happened with me and Callum there in GB3. it promotes that. Like it opens up and you're like, oh, I can make a dive. Then you've got no grip and you're like, ugh.
And then
You
you
end up firing someone into the wall normally.
and then you're sunk. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's just, yeah. It's still a cool place though, but I would have loved to have driven it before it was reprofiled because from what I've heard, it was a lot better then. But
Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing it years ago and thinking it was fantastic. I actually went there in 2018. I'd been to Assen for the MotoGP and we
Yeah.
swung into Zandvoort and I was just standing there. And this was before all it was mumbled about F1 going back there and all that and all the work that was done. It's before all that. And I thought, oh, I bet that's great. I bet that bit's cool. I bet that bit's cool. But
yeah,
they've changed it. But
it kind of has everything, doesn't it? It has long, high-speed corners. It's got short, high-speed corners. It's got low-speed stuff. It's quite a good all-rounder, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a good mix of everything. And also, it was, and that year, third overall, we must have been pretty pleased with that. I remember seeing something where you just said, "Well, to come third, you were pretty chuffed with it, weren't you?"
Yeah, it goes back to what I said at the start of the year. Like I would have been happy if I scored the odd podium, the odd win, maybe. I think I said at the start of the year, if I win a race, it will be one of the best years ever, just because the grid was so strong. The competition is just really high in that championship, and it was a car that I didn't know and I hadn't done much running in. I think I did 8 days in it before round one.
Wow.
So obviously that sounds like a lot, but when there was some people that have done 20 before the start of the season, and you're always on the back foot. But I've had it my whole career, so it's nothing new. But no, to finish third was cool. It was something that I didn't expect to do, and to win 4 races. Was it 4? It was 4 races, wasn't it?
4. Yeah, I've got 4.
4.
Just checking.
Alton, 2 Silverstone, 1 Brands, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brands was cool. I love Brands. Brands is so cool.
Yeah. I was actually
knew
there.
I didn't win a race there after we did a test mid-season, and I was really quick there. And I told myself, if I don't win a Brands, I'm not bothering turning up to the last round.
I'm not having it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I've been going to Brands since I was very small, and I'm now not very small. It was 38 years ago that I first went to Brands this year.
Yeah.
And I finally went round it on Monday with the folk from like Rodin Motorsport, and I've just seen that Sheila's tuned in. Hello, Sheila. And I was given some flying laps around Brands, and I love it. It's so good.
It's awesome.
It's so good. And Surtees has to be the most underrated corner in the history of motorsport, because I always thought
that. So on
the Indy circuit, you come out of Druids, down Graham Hill Bend, along the straight, and then you got the little left before you throw it.
Yeah. Okay.
Brilliant corner. I always thought, you slow down and it's a bit of a dawdle around. It absolutely isn't. It was.
When you did the hot laps? Did you do the whole GP or did you? Just
it was just the.
Okay.
Just the Indy circuit. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. So when we did GB3, I don't know why they do it, but the first day of test, we normally have 2 days before qualifying of testing. The first day we were on the Indy circuit.
Right.
I don't know why. It's so pointless. They do it in F4 as well, but I don't see the point because you do 3 corners. But yeah, that left is flat in GB3.
Yeah.
Like pretty easily as well.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely. It's disgustingly quick. Like
I
remember doing it in Fiestas, and that felt quick. And then I was doing it flat in F4 just about, and then I was like, well, GB3 it can't be flat because I'm going 30 mile an hour quicker into it, and it was easier flat than F4. So
wow,
it's a pretty scary corner.
Yeah, it's crazy because everyone knows Druids and Paddock Hill Bend and Graham Hill Bend. You get to Surtees, oh dear. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, you really do have to hold on. But yeah, the GP circuit. Obviously it's still Surtees, but it's a lot tighter. And I really like that corner. That's the best corner on the track in my opinion, actually. Yeah, cool. My best corner. It's not the best corner to do, like in terms of enjoyment, but it's in terms of driving. I was really quick through there, which is probably why I liked it.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, it was really cool. The whole of Brands just makes sense to me. Yeah, like I just wish every track was like Brands.
Yeah. It's anybody who's tuned into this before will know that Brands always comes up because no matter who I speak to, whatever age they are, whatever they've driven, whatever part of their career and life they're in, even guys like Mario Andretti and Danny Sullivan have just said, "Oh, Brands Hatch, wow!" You know, they've driven all these incredible circuits, and they all love Brands because it's the best, and it's brilliant.
It doesn't get any better.
Yeah,
Paddock Hill, you go down, you think you're going into the wall, and then you grip up. Turn 2, you brake stupidly late because it's uphill and somehow it grips. Turn 3 is a bit naff, but it's pretty cool. And then you get to the back section, and it's just absolutely incredible. You know, you've got Hawthorns, which is like it's just a lift in GB3. You don't even come fully off the throttle. You just go to like 30% downshift and then full throttle again.
Wow.
Then you've got the next right. I don't know the name. Apologies to everybody. And you brake down a gear and in, and it's just you're that close to having one of the biggest shunts of your life. Every single lap is so fun. Fun fact, actually, the race that I won at Brands, I on the last lap I tried to go for fastest lap because I knew that I didn't have it because I knew on the lap that I did my best lap of the race, Callum caught me. So I was like, right, I've got to go for fastest lap here. So I pushed like crazy on the last lap. I think I did do it in the end. But I had quite a scare because through, what's it called? Dingledale. That's the one that I remember it as. It's not Dingledale anymore.
Oh, it's Hawthorne, Westfield, then it's up to Dingledale, and then into.
Oh, I don't know the next one.
Sheen.
See, it's not called Dingledale anymore.
Dingledale's
now called Sheen.
Sheen.
Yeah, so Sheen is now that right, but I still call it Dingledale because it's a hilarious name. But
because it is. It's Dingledale.
It is Dingledale, but it used to be a chicane, didn't it?
It
used to be like a right, left, right. Yeah.
But everyone just went straight through it.
Yeah, but yeah, I stuck a wheel off there on the exit and nearly died. But obviously I didn't. But yeah.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
That is cool.
I've drawn a blank. What's the left before you come down to Clearways?
I don't know. Yeah, I just called it second to last corner.
I should know that. I've only been going there for 36 years.
Yeah, that's really poor. You've been going there for twice the amount of time that I've been alive.
Thank you.
It's all right.
Right, just keep
that one in.
Yeah, it's all good. But no, yeah, Brands Hatch, we love it. Just keep it on time because I want to zap on a little bit. We've got to talk about the very short title of Aston Martin Autosport BRDC Young Driver of the Year Award, which you can't get on a t-shirt. I'm
impressed you got that. That is quite impressive. Well done.
Memorizing it.
Not many people can do it. So,
round of
applause.
Thank you all. Can I have some clapping emojis, people? Thank you. Yeah, I mean, how did it come about that you were? I don't know if you got like nominated or invited, or first. I mean, just how did it come about, and what did you have to do quickly? I mean,
So, I think it was Steve Hunter actually that mainly got me. I mean, he got me on the Rising Stars program, and I think obviously then you're a little bit more in the eye of the BRDC, and the BRDC are the ones that run it really.
Right.
Or the ones that are actually choosing the people and stuff like that. Obviously, they've got the partners of Autosport and Aston Martin, but they just kind of help with the setup of the actual event. BRDC are more looking at the drivers that they bring in. So being a Rising Star, it kind of helped a bit just for them to know me and know of me. I think Steve really pushed to have me. He pushed for Matt as well on there. But of course, Matt struggled a little bit in GB3 last year. And obviously with me doing better at the time, I think it was pretty clear that one of us would only get it, and I managed to get the opportunity. I got into the top 10, which is just a short list basically. It's just saying that you've got a chance, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then I spoke to a few people, and I figured out that they were basically just going to wait until GB3 Brands Hatch to decide who was going to do it.
Right. Okay.
And normally they'll choose at least one GB3 driver. So I was like, well, it's between me and Callum because me and Callum were both fine for the championship.
That's Callum Boysen, isn't it?
Yeah, Callum Boysen. And then obviously both me and Callum won a race each at Brands. And I think they were like, well, we can't really choose one and not the other. So they went for us both in the final four. And then they took Arvid Lindblad, who'd done really well in Italian F4. And then Taylor Barnard, who of course won a race in F3 last year. And then I didn't actually have to do anything up till then. Obviously, they gave me a phone call saying, congratulations, you're in the top 4. you're going to be going to Silverstone, driving these cars around.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. But I still didn't actually know what it was about. Obviously I'd heard of the award, but I didn't know it was really anything that big. I knew I got to drive an F1 car after it, which is obviously pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, it's just an award. Like it's not like it's not like winning a championship or something like that. It's just cool to be in. Then I did a bit more research, and a lot of people, when they found out that I was in the top 4, a lot of people were saying, mate, that is unreal. And I was like, is it? Is it really? And then obviously before I went and everything like that, I knew if people are saying that it's good, it's got to be pretty cool. So I did loads of research, looked at everybody who's on the judging panel, everything like that, and obviously figured out who everyone was, stuff like that. And
yeah, because I know Derek Warwick was on, wasn't he? I remember Derek was one of them.
yeah, Derek's the main one.
Yeah,
Derek's the guy that has the final choice, basically.
He was the first kind of real big sort of name that I had on here in my mind, because I used to watch him when I was a kid, and you've got some incredible names on the list of judges, and I'm not going to name one because then I have to name them all, and they're all just as incredible as each other. But you've got from IndyCar champions to everyone basically. And obviously once I'd done that research, I then realized how big of a thing this was. And then obviously it came around to we did a couple of other tests. So we did a simulator test at Mercedes on the Mercedes F1 sim, which was really cool. One of the most crazy experiences I've ever had. And then did fitness tests, stuff like that. But then the main one was 2 days at Silverstone, where we drove an old MSV Formula 2 car, Aston Martin GT3. I think it was a Beach Dean GT3. Wow.
And then a United Autosports LMP3 Ligier. So obviously they mainly used the F2 car to judge us, because obviously we're all single-seater drivers. We all want to get to F1. We're all going to be driving an F1 car, so they want the best single-seater driver, really. But the other 2 cars were really good for just showing adaptability and stuff. But But yeah, no, it was. Yeah, I remember sitting in the car before I went out, like got out to meet everyone, because I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't really know why I was there, and I was so, again, naive, and I was so scared to get out of my car, and I sat there for 20 minutes just being so petrified. And I worked up the courage, and obviously Luke was doing his F1 test the day before that we were on track, and I think it really hit home that could be me in a year's time, and of course now it is.
Yeah, and it's kind of and you obviously, I mean, it was pretty tough competition, and as you said, lots of cars to drive and lots of people to impress and beat and whatever. Just to fast forward, I mean, I think most of us would have seen the footage from the announcement at the Autosport Awards.
Yeah,
and it's just lovely, because it's almost like elation, but. And I don't mean this in a negative way, but it was like almost like surprise, not because of anything against you, but it was just like,
yeah, for sure.
Oh my God. I mean, and it's lovely. I mean, there's a lovely wide shot of the whole room and the stage, and there's just one table going ballistic when they announce it. I mean,
that was my table.
And that was obviously when they were about to announce it, did you think, oh, here we go? Or was it like, oh, well, whatever it will be, will be? I mean, what was.
It was a bit both. It was a bit both. I was doing my normal thing of kind of trying to play it down, saying that it didn't matter. I wasn't bothered. I really was quite bothered, and I was
inside.
Sat there.
You were like, "Come on."
Yeah. Well, the worst bit was that they were really horrible about it. Actually, so we went for like what's it called? What's the thing? A rehearsal. That's it. A rehearsal of what they were going to do with the stage and stuff like
that. Okay.
And this is before everybody came in, so it was like 5 o'clock ish. I think we had to be there. We go in, and they show us around this room that's obviously very, very cool, very, very posh, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is cool. My face was on a wall as you walk in, and I was like, okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
And then yeah, obviously we go and see the stage, everything like that, and I was like, right, okay, this is a big deal. But then I had to go back out again, go back to my hotel, pick up everybody that was going to be on my table. We filled the table out. We had a table of 12 that was all there to support me and stuff like that. And once we got there, we then went in, sat down. Then they basically put us in front of the stage, showed us to everyone, and said, right, these are the 4. Then they sent us back to our tables. Have a guess how long that then was until they actually announced the award.
Oh, crikey.
3 hours. 3 hours. They had us sat there. Yep. 3 hours.
Waiting.
Three whole hours. It was about 7:15. It was about 7:15 when they put us out on the stage and said, right, these are the 4. Then we had to sit down. Then we had to eat a 3-course meal. Then they did loads of other awards. And then they said, right, on to our final award. And we were like, okay, here we go then.
To close the night out, my word.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And then obviously when they announced the winner, I mean, the table just erupted, rightly so. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it was just a dream come true, really. Like it changed my whole life. That did, I didn't really know what I'd be doing after GB3. I didn't have much hope of moving to F3. I didn't think I had the money, and I didn't have the money. But of course, with the award and everything like that, it not only did it give me money to take to Formula 3, but it also meant that I could use that to get money off my deals and stuff like that for the year.
Yeah.
And it was, I can't thank the people on that panel enough for choosing me. They had a lot of criticism about me in certain areas. Fitness was the main bit. They said that my fitness needed improving, which is something that I made sure I did for F3.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think I did enough to show them that I have the determination. I have some kind of talent there, and I think they saw something in me that maybe I don't even see. And
very likely, yeah.
And it just gave me a lot of confidence. And obviously, then I was like, right, all of these incredible people have put so much behind me, and I'm almost their driver in a way. And now I've got to prove them that they made the right choice. And that was where I got the phone call off Sam Wappel at Rodin. Obviously, it was called Carlin at the time. Now Rodin, and I was planning on doing another year of GB3. Sam calls me up and he goes, right, I want to speak to you about F3. And I was like, do you now?
Oh.
and he was like, we'd really like to have you in the team. Obviously, we're struggling a bit at the moment. They did really quite poor last year for numerous reasons. But they wanted to try and build the team up, and they said, right, we're pretty sure we've got Callum on board, but we'd like another driver who knows him quite well and can work alongside him. And I was like, well, I think I know him quite well, so I'm probably a good person for it. And then obviously we went through a load of chat and stuff like that, and eventually we managed to figure out a way of getting me on the grid, which was again another dream come true. So to be honest, the last 6 months has almost just been a dream. Like it doesn't feel real. And I don't know if I have it. Yeah, I have the trophy just up there. The Young Drunk Year. Do you want me to grab it? I'll grab it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. I mean, we are wrapping up just quickly, folks. But I must admit, I was delighted when Joseph won it as well. There it is, look. Hey, there it is.
Oh, hang on. So yeah, of course.
The one that we've all seen. Look at that.
All shiny and
that is beautiful. Look at that.
It's so heavy as well.
That's a cool.
I need to weigh it at some point, but yeah, it's so awesome.
That's fantastic. Wow, that's cool. That's very, very cool. And obviously, congratulations from all of us. I mean, from everyone tuning in.
Thank you.
The best part of 200 people tuning in. So yeah, my friend Chris said this is where he drops it. Chris, don't. He's got good hands. He's a racing driver, Chris. Don't worry, mate. But
I don't actually. My hand-eye coordination is quite appalling. You'd think it'd be quite good, but it's actually really bad. I was
Just when it
playing.
needs to be. That's all.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Honestly, luckily, you don't really need to. The problem that I have is I don't know how far away my hands are. So like, so when I'm playing like tennis, for example, or something like that, I'm either too far away or I hit it with my hand instead of the
It's
racket.
the depth thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously with a race car, you sat like that and you just do that, so
Yeah.
you're
It's
all good.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to
Brilliant.
guess where it is, but no,
Yeah.
it's yeah. Like I'll go back to it. It's so cool just to have that trophy there, and I'll go back to what I said at the start of the podcast. Actually, I've always struggled through my whole career with self belief and always thinking that I'm not good enough, and now I have that just that one piece of metal that I can look at and go, I won that, and I won it because I was good enough for it, and
Yeah.
I deserved it, and it wasn't through anything. It wasn't through anything else. It was all because of what I did, and I think
Yeah.
that's that is my self confidence there. Like that is everything that I have.
I think that's lovely. That's that one thing. Whatever happens going forward or whatever, you've got that.
Yeah,
And that thing is like, yeah, I
exactly.
was good enough for that, and people thought I was good enough.
Yeah,
You know,
and
which is
you've hit the nail on the head. People thought I was good enough, which
yeah.
is something that
It was
I've
other
never had.
people, wasn't it,
Yeah,
that saw
yeah,
what you did and said that's the best.
yeah. And
And
like I
it's like,
said, I never had people. Nobody ever told me. Maybe people did believe in me, and maybe people did see a lot in me, but they never told me. And I never thought that I'd ever get to a point like that. And I always thought that, maybe I'm okay, but I'll never be the best.
mm,
And then obviously to win the award against the drivers that were in it as well. Obviously the one that stood out for me was Taylor. Obviously he won a race in F3. He's now in Formula 2.
yeah,
And
yeah,
we were in the same car, same day, same everything, and I managed to beat him, and it's quite special.
yeah. And it's one in the eye for the bullies those years ago. It's one in the eye for them, which is nice.
I did actually put that in my Instagram post.
Yeah,
I put a post out just saying, thank you to to everyone involved, stuff like that. But then I put at the bottom, and to everybody who thought I would never make anything out of motorsport, thanks for
take
the
a look.
motivation.
Yeah,
And
take a
that's
look
what
at
it
this.
was. It was motivation. I always got told I couldn't do it, and I said, why not? And that was
Yeah,
kind of something that when I have quite a few people message me and say, if you had any advice, what would it be? And I say, well, if nobody else believes in you, the least you can do is believe in yourself, and
yeah.
um,
Back
something
yourself.
always happens. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And I
no,
think I just wish I'd learned that sooner, to be honest,
yeah.
because I think it could have, things could have happened a lot differently, but I wouldn't change anything because
Yeah.
I might have not ended up here.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, that lad who was getting bullied in Macclesfield gets to drive an F1 car later this year, which
Exactly. Yeah. So have that, mate.
which is all right, isn't it? I mean, that's not, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think we touched on it when we spoke at Autosport. It's sometime late summer, isn't it? It looks like it's going to be happening.
Yes, it'll be the 21st of August. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. Oh well.
As long as people don't say where, it's fine. No one will turn up.
I think everybody knows where, don't they?
You would imagine so, but yeah, yeah. But I mean,
It's all right. It's fine.
it's something to look forward to.
What are they going to do? Take the test away from me?
Yeah, I won't keep it.
Yeah.
No, it'll be fine. That'll be happening. And obviously, I mean,
Yeah,
will we keep an eye out for that when it happens? And obviously, yeah, I just hope you enjoy it and wish you all the very best for that. Driving that car.
Yeah.
Very jealous.
I would be too.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're obviously looking forward to seeing that. And also, we touched on how the F3 season started.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot to learn, isn't there? But there's some terrific circuits you're going to. I mean, obviously you've got Melbourne coming up, and you go to Imola, Monaco, which might be all right. You've got Barcelona and the Red Bull Ring and Silverstone, Hungary, Spa, Monza. I mean, it's going to be an amazing season, isn't it?
I can't wait, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, I'm flying to Melbourne on Friday. I think it's 2 weeks until I'm on track, but it's just so cool. Like I'm gonna get to race in like Melbourne, Monaco. Like the names, all of the tracks that you just said. Like when I was that little tubby 10-year-old, he would, yeah, he would have never believed you.
There's no way it's going to. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, and
Wow.
especially with the background that I had, I didn't have any particular backing from anybody that was involved
Yeah.
in motorsport. I was a little kid with a family that was very supportive, and it's happened somehow. And no, it's so cool. It's so cool just to have the opportunity to drive at those circuits. I don't even care if I finish 30th at this point. It's just the
It's
fact that I'm there and I'm experiencing it. Obviously, I want to do well. That
of
came
course.
out badly, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you get what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the one will always be Monaco. I mean, people know that I'm very pro street circuits. It's just that F1 cars are too big for them. But the street circuit's the ultimate challenge for a driver.
Yeah,
If you get it wrong, it's done. And Monaco, in the history of it, I mean, enjoy it. It's going
I
to be
cannot
great.
wait. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah.
And also the thing that gets overlooked in F3 quite a lot is the fact that you don't get any time to learn the track. Like we don't get any testing. We can't do any testing because it's a street circuit and there's normally road cars going
Of
around
course,
there.
yeah.
So then you turn up there and you get, well, in F3, you're lucky if you get 2 runs of 2 push laps
Wow.
because the tyres don't last long enough, and then you're straight into quali. So and Melbourne's the exact same. So I've been doing a load of sim prep for that, making sure that I'm fully ready. But yeah, I'm going to turn up. I think. Oh, well, I'm not going to say go into it, but in practice we only have a few laps that we can learn.
Wow.
And then that's that. You're straight into qualifying. You get 3 runs, depending on how qualifying goes. Sometimes it's 2, and that's your lot. And then you're into the races, and then you're done. You're going home. So it's you don't get long to learn.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna have to. No, it's just enjoying it, isn't it? It's just enjoying
Exactly.
it. I mean, I just want to read some comments here. I mean, I got Oliver Taylor said, good lad, you're going far, never give up. Paul Ablett, he's hit it on the head. All of us motorsport fans in Britain are so proud of you, Joseph. Keep going. Joseph passed his motivation on. Is very helpful. Helped me tons in getting my diet right to lose weight and how to do it well. So there's lots of love coming your way.
Yeah,
lovely to see. Obviously, we wish you all the best for the season as well. We'll be watching. I certainly will be. I'm sure plenty of other people will be too. Let's just wrap up here with some fun questions. I mean, there's loads of stuff we can touch on, things like that. But we always do some fun questions right at the end. Always ask them to everyone, whoever they are, whatever they've done in their career so far, or whatever. Who was your hero growing up when you were racing in karts or whoever it was? Who did you look up to and think, oh, I like him? I'm going to put it out there. Mine was Nigel Mansell, who's still up on the wall there. This picture up here is Ayrton Senna. That's my era. They were my 2 heroes.
Yep. Don't blame you. Don't blame you. 2 very good drivers.
They were my 2. But I mean, who was yours growing up? Was there anyone that you wanted to?
I'm just going to quickly, because this could be very controversial. Who's your favourite F1 driver at the moment?
Oh, you don't ask me that.
Do you have a favourite?
I don't answer questions. No. I don't really have favourites or anything like that, and people that I really dislike because I've see what I call that messing around. But I must admit, when Oscar Piastri came in, I immediately, for some reason, you just latch onto someone or you take to them for whatever reason, and I just like the way he goes about it. It's not super sort of spectacular. He's not in front of everyone. He's just there and he's good. And I quite like that.
All right, that means I'm not
if I was going to pick one, no disrespect to anyone else, but I think I do like Oscar Piastri. I just like the way he goes about everything.
Cool. That means I'm not going to get shouted at then, because obviously it's very controversial. But when I first got into motorsport, it was 2015, 2016, and that was when Max Verstappen got into Formula One. And I latched onto him because I saw how well he was doing at such a young age.
Yeah.
He was younger than what I am now when he went into F1.
Yeah.
And I couldn't
like
even
12
imagine
or something,
that.
Wasn't he? He was.
Yeah, he'd only just been born, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, he was. It was just the way that you watched him. He was so confident, and he just
fearless.
He just did what he wanted. Yeah, that's the exact word. Yeah, he just did what he wanted, and he just made it work. And it was Yeah, I remember watching him. I was like, I want to be like that someday. That is exactly who I want to be.
Yeah,
Um,
fair
and
one, fair
and
play.
I mean, I'm a firm believer of being yourself, but there's so many bits of Max Verstappen that you could put into your own driving. I
Yeah,
mean, if you drove like Max Verstappen, you're the best in the world. So let's be honest.
yeah.
So
And there's loads of
he's not
people
a
that
bad
are
role model.
pointing. Loads of people are pointing to the car and Adrian Newey and things
I
like that.
can't stand that. I can't
It's like,
stand.
okay, you've got a point. He is in the best car with the best designer, but he is doing.
Yeah, but all
He is
you have to say
streets
to
ahead of
that
his
is
teammate.
who's ever won a championship in a worse car.
I can only think of one, and it was in 1983, I think it was, or 84. Rosberg, Keke Rosberg, didn't have the best car, only won one race all year, but he was
Yeah,
consistent and he won the championship.
yeah,
Apart from that, you've got the best car.
yeah.
And Max is getting more out of that car, certainly than his
I
teammate,
mean,
and
look
certainly
at
than
look at
most cars on the
Perez.
grid could, because he's brilliant, isn't he?
Exactly. Look at Perez, and Perez isn't bad. Perez is really good. You
He
know,
is
I
good.
I know
Race
people
winner.
who ran him in his junior series when he was, our engineer in GB3. He ran Perez at one point,
Yeah.
and he said that he was just the bee's knees. He was so good, and his tire conservation was absolutely incredible, which obviously it still is now. And Max Verstappen is making him look stupid. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean to say that Perez has dropped off or anything like that. I just think Max is that good, and it's really annoying to say, but just because you want to see a bit of entertainment, don't you?
Yeah.
But no, Max is just
But,
on another level.
but the people that are saying things about the current Red Bull are the same people that were having a go at Lewis Hamilton when he was winning and Vettel and everyone else. I'll put it this way: they've never raced a car, have they?
All right,
I
that.
haven't. I mean, what do I know? I like to think I'm fairly balanced with things, but I don't know a thing. But it's just very obvious that he's very, very good. He's the
Exactly.
best.
Like, I mean, yeah, as a driver, you can when you just watch his onboards. I mean, to be honest, I don't even think you need to be a driver. I'm sure you can see as well. You just watch his laps, like, and I'll use his Jeddah lap from last race weekend.
Yeah.
It's just good. Like
It's
the
just
Verstappen
metronomic.
lap
It's
in
just
2021 that he messed up at the end of the lap. I would actually argue that his lap was better in Saudi Arabia this year than it was then. Which,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it was quicker anyway in sector times. I mean, you don't know how much of that is car improvement stuff like that, but
yeah. But yeah,
it just looked quicker. Like it looked more refined, and I think that's the thing with Max. He's taken that aggression and the raw speed, and he's now refined it, and he's
yeah,
unbeatable at the moment. I think
yeah.
even if you gave, I'm not. This is really controversial. I think even if you gave Hamilton a car that was 3 tenths quicker, he still couldn't beat Verstappen.
I think at the moment, with the way they're both driving, I don't think anyone could
No,
beat him, to be honest. And obviously we like the Brits to do well, of course we do. But
I think Norris is the only Brit that's got a chance of beating Max. To be honest, I
yeah,
think he's
I
the
think
second
so.
best on the grid. I think
Yeah,
Alonso's close, but
yeah, love Fernando.
it's just Verstappen's just he's through the ceiling of how
He's
good
just
he is.
so good, isn't he?
And do you know the scary thing? Seeing Alonso of how well he's doing at 42, is he now?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
seeing that, it's like Max is only what is he 27, 28 or something? No, he's not even that, is he?
24? I don't know.
I don't
20.
know. Maybe he's 26. I'm going to Google
I'm
this.
gonna have a look before we wrap up. I'm gonna have a quick look.
He's
Max Verstappen
26.
is 26, just
He's
26.
26.
And you
That's
think
that's outrageous. Lewis Hamilton, when people say he was in his prime, was in 2018. What would he have been? 31 or something like that back then?
early 30s. So Max has got
Yeah.
5 years of getting better.
Yes. He's so good already.
Oh, good.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's so worrying. But
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
that's why I think people, because Norris was going to go to Red Bull at one point, wasn't he? There was talk of him going there. And
Yeah,
I reckon the main reason he didn't is because he probably thought he couldn't beat Max.
but that's the thing. Anyone who goes into Red Bull alongside Max, they're going to be made to look daft. I mean,
Yeah.
because he's just that good. But
I mean, he's ruined careers, hasn't he? He ruined Albon.
well, yeah. I mean, Albon's had to go back and start again. And
Yeah.
I rate him highly.
Yeah, I rate Albon.
Very,
And
very
you look at his junior career; he was really good. And Albon's a driver that never really had that much himself as well. He came from quite a low background.
yeah.
He didn't have that much money,
Just
and he
like normal,
fought with like Norris and it was either on Russell. It was
George, yeah, I thought with George.
yeah,
Mm.
and obviously George and Lando both had quite a bit of money going through the careers. They're both very
Yeah,
good as well.
they've been well backed, which is
Yeah,
fair enough.
and
Good.
Alex kind of didn't have anything. But I really rate Albon. I think
Yeah.
he deserved another year at Red Bull, to be honest. But we've
Yes.
gone properly in depth in Formula One here. We should be on the Sky Sports F1.
We should. I think this is the future.
Live.
No, you are. I'm very much no. But anyway, yeah. Oh, we've got BSR Racing. Yeah, we need someone in F1 to represent the north of England. We need it to be Joseph. Yes, agreed.
Absolutely. Might need to wait a couple of years. I don't think I can be in
That's
there
all right,
next
we
year.
can wait.
Although there is a Merc seat going.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
Right.
Just have a word.
Hello.
Folks, it's happening. It's happening. This just in.
On air.
Yeah, this just in. No, good stuff. Right, okay, two more, three. Let's go 3 more questions. What was your favourite circuit to drive on? I think we've probably touched on it.
Brands Hatch.
Yes. Win.
There you go. Next
Thought
question.
Next, best car you've ever driven. You've driven a few.
The F2 car at the Young Driver of the Year award. That was so cool. That was absolutely incredible. Like,
Nice.
and it's the fact it's an old car. New cars are so boring and heavy, and the Halo. I know it's a great. The Halo is the best thing that they've ever done, but it's the worst thing for the feeling of a car because it's so heavy and it's so high up on the car that it makes it do that. So like you turn into a corner, it goes like that all the time. Whereas the old cars, they sat down, they went and they like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like that?
That was good. Good sound effect.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
But yeah, so just the F2 car was absolutely incredible. I'd do anything to drive that thing again.
Smashing.
I might have to buy one when I'm older.
Why not? Why not? Do it.
I'll buy the one that I drove at the award.
The exact one.
Sorted.
Yeah. Nailed it. Okay, last one. This is a very tricky question because the word best is always a tough one to use. But I mean, you've raced against a lot of very good drivers. I mean, you've touched on them in the chat. Some of the young drivers you've raced against. I mean, is there anyone that stands out as being particularly hard to beat, or just a different level for whatever reason?
That I've raced against?
Yeah.
No.
Good answer.
Only because I mean, there's been times when I've looked at people and gone, I don't know if I can beat them, but then I've gone and beaten them.
Right.
So it's like now I don't really believe in that. I think everyone's beatable.
Right. Excellent.
I even think Max Verstappen is beatable. I think you just have to be incredibly good. You know, Max isn't perfect. I'm sure you could look through every single lap that he did in Bahrain at round 1, where he won by 26 seconds or whatever he won by. I bet you could look at every single lap, and I bet there'd be a very tiny mistake in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So it is possible. It's just it's incredibly, incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I guess if there is that driver out there, you haven't come across him or her yet.
Exactly, and you never know. Maybe that could be me. You don't know,
Well,
and that's what I think is quite important. Like, you don't know until you have a go at it yourself, do you?
Yeah.
Because like once upon a time, I'd have told myself that I wasn't good enough for F3, and now I'm in F3, so maybe I am. Like it's not cocky or arrogant or anything like that.
No,
I don't think. I think it's just, to be honest, it's just curiosity more than anything. You don't know, do you? So. But no, I think there's a lot of drivers that are good enough for F1 that I've raced against. I think Alex is one of them that stands out. Alex Dunn.
Yep.
Of course, he is good. Like there's no getting away from it. I think he does have his flaws, and obviously I've raced against him for a few years now, and I know them quite well. But I think everyone has flaws, don't they? And it's how you deal with them is the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll see. We'll see who that driver might be, and if it is indeed you. Well, why can't it be? There's no reason why it can't be.
Exactly. You never know. Yeah. Like I say, I'm on the phone with Toto after this.
Right, brilliant. On it. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. No, that's great stuff. And well, as Oliver Taylor said, that's a straight answer that only a northerner could give. Blunt to the point and honest, which is brilliant. And I think that is how this chat has gone, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's been cool. Thank you.
We've run over to nearly 2 hours. I don't know how we do it. We always run over these things. It goes.
How long's it supposed to be?
Oh, whatever. It's never really a limit. It's just however. I mean, we had one for over 4 hours once. It was gone midnight.
Really?
Yeah, he's an ex-British touring car driver, and I love him. A guy called Jerry Marney, absolute legend.
Nice.
And it was we were on to the following day.
Yeah, no offense, I'm not staying till midnight.
No, Vita, no, it's fine. Thank you for staying on this long. Thank you to everyone who's
No, for
tuned in.
sure.
There's still well over 170 of you tuning in, which is wonderful. But
Awesome.
no, Joseph, thank you very, very much for coming on and having a chat. It took a while to get it together because you've been very busy, which is absolutely no problem. But yeah, thanks very much for coming on. It's been great.
No, for sure. It's been a pleasure to be here, and really nice to actually properly speak to you. You know, we met at Autosport. We didn't really speak that much, so
Yeah,
nice to actually speak face to face, kind of on a screen.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to say, I've got one more thing. I've got Nathan Cook has said, can you read out one question for me? Yes. If you're very quick, I can read out one question unless you want me to read a previous one. We're going to hang on for just for 30 seconds. But yeah, I'm just going to say thank you to everyone in the comments as well. Thank you for all the questions in the comments and the interaction, everything. Very much appreciated. Thank you for coming on and for all the support. And as I said, we'll be announcing another chat tomorrow evening. So we'll be doing that. What I'm going to do very quickly is answer one of Nathan Cook's. I've just seen it pop up. Okay, biggest difference between F3 and F2 cars?
Right. As in current F3 and F2. I don't. Current F3 and F2, obviously, I haven't driven a current F2 car.
Yeah.
Like the F2 car that I drove for the award was obviously an old one from I think it was mid 2000s.
Yeah.
So it's quite a lot different. But I'd say the main thing is just how nimble the old cars are. Like you can kind of chuck them around, do what you want, and it actually really suited me. And I think that played into my hands quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because I think I just suit a light, nimble car that you can kind of play around with a bit more. Because a lot of the cars these days, you have to drive in such a particular way.
Yeah.
It almost means that you have to remove your natural driving style and teach yourself to drive in a certain way. And I think that's almost a problem that has happened. In fact, I don't know why I keep rambling on, but Fernando Alonso, obviously back in when he won his championships in 05, 06, he had that style of he'd go into corners and do that, and he'd just flick the steering in and he'd do whatever he wanted. That was how he drove. Yeah. You don't do that anymore because you can't.
Yeah.
And sure. I'm sure if you were to give him his old car or anything like that, he'd go straight back to doing that because it's natural to him. And I think old cars were so good for that. Like you could mold the car around what you wanted it to do rather than what the car has to be.
Yeah.
And I think it's just something that needs to try and be recovered a little bit, so that you can see the real, true, deep down drivers that you have. Because everybody drives the same in F1 now, don't they? For example,
because they have to.
Yeah, because they have to, because that's what the cars are, and I think it needs to go back a little bit. But the problem is that a lot of the reasons why it's like that are all good reasons. For example, like the Halo is the worst part of it for the driving side of it. But I wouldn't even race a car without Halo now. I just don't think it. I think it's crazy that it took so long for it to be invented, to be quite honest.
And I think we were all against it, weren't we? And then when it came in, I think Alonso went over Leclerc and it hit the Halo at Spa, and we went, okay, yeah, fine, agreed.
Yeah. And then you look at all of the categories that people have been in and the shunts that the Halo's prevented. You know, in F1 there's been multiple that where it's saved people's lives already.
That's the big one, isn't it? Grosjean is the big one.
Grosjean might not have necessarily died because of the Halo not being there, but it would have. The Halo almost gave him that escape route. Almost, it gave him a way out. And if there wasn't the Halo, he'd have been right up against helmet on the barrier, and he might not have got out.
Yeah, whereas he had a bit of room to get out. So
exactly, yeah, and it's in almost indirect ways. The Halo is so good, but yeah, it does kind of ruin the fun of driving the cars a little bit. So for a test day, you'd want to get rid of it, but for racing, it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, in terms of F2, the new generation F2 cars I've not driven, so I don't know.
Yeah,
good question though.
We'll have to see what comes in the next.
Yeah, I'll tell you next year.
Love that. Perfect. No, great stuff. Right. Well, thank you to everyone again for tuning in, for the questions and the comments. I hope we've covered everything. And Joseph, once again, thanks very much. And we'll be obviously wishing you all the very best for the year. Have fun with the F1 drive. I'm sure you will. And thanks again for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Great stuff. Good night, everyone. We'll see you soon.